Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornblum, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
We woke up today, and the heart and soul of South Carolina was broken. And so we have some grieving to do. And we've got some pain we have to go through. Parents are having to explain to their kids how they can go to church and feel safe. And that's not something we ever thought we'd deal with.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome into Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network from Columbia. That was Governor Nikki Haley earlier today in Charleston. And, of course, this is a sports talk show. We understand our place in the world. But on a day like today and last night, when the biggest story in the world was the shooting in Charleston, we also have to understand our place and the secondary place that we take in the things going on today in South Carolina, secondary to all the work and all the other things happening as a result of the shootings down in Charleston. And, of course, it's on everybody's mind. Professor Tom Hayes with us. It's on everybody's mind here in South Carolina. There's no doubt about that. And it's been the big story nationally and around the world. And so I just want to take a moment out here before we jump into the sports world to say how sorry we are for everything that has happened down in Charleston and wish everyone there the best. And unfortunately, this tragedy touched sports lives as well, because one of the folks who was killed was a teacher and a track coach at Goose Creek High School. And I believe that she had a son who was an athlete at Charleston Southern. So we certainly send out our condolences and thoughts and prayers to everybody affected in Charleston. We'll do our best to do what we do here on Sports Talk, which is be a diversion from the stuff that happens in your life and happens in the world that's not pleasant. And we'll get on to that here in just a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know, I guess the shock, when you think about it, first of all, I've had dealings when I was working on the State House beat with Senator Pinckney. Very incredibly intelligent young guy. I mean, he was mature beyond his years. I mean, I first met him and he was, I think, in his late 20s, early 30s, and you knew he was sharp. He was sharp, and of course, some things I didn't know about him because he didn't talk or brag about himself. But ordained minister at the age of 18, child prodigy, as far as his intelligence is concerned, and he had just completed his duties at the State House and drove back down to Charleston to his church without any rest to have the Bible study, which churches do on Wednesday night. And boy, yeah, I just feel for the kids who, you know, the one building you think that you can go in, a church or a synagogue, and the doors are always open.
Well, we've done this show the night of 9/11. We've done this show the night of the bombings of Tel Aviv, and we'll do our show tonight as well. Back in a moment. right, Clemson did name Monty Lee officially its new baseball coach today, but no news conference, and Monty's not available to talk to the media until next week because of the Charleston situation. Dustin Johnson has a share of the lead at the U.S. Open. We'll give you the details on that in just a moment. And we'll bring up Bill McDonald from Chambers Bay here in just a little bit to get his take on the first day of play, U.S. Open. Before we get into all that, we'll take your phone calls as well. Our news director, Matt Long, has joined us. Like news media from this state and around the country who have descended on Charleston, he's been covering this story since the early hours this morning. I want to say from watching the coverage last night when it first started to break, the news media has done a fabulous job of covering this thing, and that police chief down there and the mayor. Of course, we all know about Mayor Riley, but that police chief, what a sharp guy he is. And he and the mayor just seem to work together so well, and have just since this tragedy started to unfold, they have just, in my eyes, from what I've seen and heard, they seem to have been right on top of it. So kudos to everybody down there, and especially our brothers and sisters in the media who were down there working very long hours and doing a great job covering it here in the state and, of course, nationally. And Matt Long has joined us because, of course, there's been a lot of developments today, and we're going to get into sports here in just a moment, but I thought we'd do our public service and let you update us on the latest developments in this ongoing story.
Well, of course, Phil, the suspect in the case has been identified as 21-year-old Dylan Ruff. It's spelled Roof, but it's pronounced Ruff. And he's a resident of Lexington, even though this shooting happened down in Charleston. It appears this particular church was targeted in Charleston. He is from the Columbia area. The link of how the connection there has not yet been said, if police even know if there is a connection. But basically, he had been reported about 10 o'clock this morning. The Charleston law enforcement community released his photo and his name. And pretty much within about an hour and a half, they announced that he had been caught. And apparently what happened was a woman driving into work up near Shelby, North Carolina, which is kind of between Charlotte and Asheville, reported seeing him. She recognized the car from the news reports, recognized the very distinctive haircut that you could see in the pictures of Mr. Ruff, and was able to identify him and reported him into 911. North Carolina Highway Patrol pulled him over, and the rest was, of course, history. He is actually, at this moment, has just gotten on a state plane and is in the process of being flown back to the Columbia area to be formally charged. They couldn't actually charge him in North Carolina. It has to be the local officials here. And so we'll see what comes forward in the coming days.
So they're bringing him to Columbia and not Charleston?
I'd imagine at some point the plane's going to probably – actually don't know now that you bring it up. But he's actually being extradited, I mean, as we speak. He waived his extradition, so he's not challenging it. So they were able to bring him back to South Carolina ASAP. Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it very much. Matt Long, our news director, South Carolina Radio Network, reading some information on this guy. He went to Rosewood Elementary School here in Columbia. Then he went to Hand. Then he went to Dreer. And then I don't know where he went after that.
And for his 21st birthday, he was given a pistol by his father. And we don't know if it's the same pistol weapon he was given.
And this guy walks into this church and sits amongst the congregants for about an hour before,
according to witnesses,
until he started shooting. Unbelievable. All right, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. Okay, so that is the story there, and we do not obviously ignore human tragedy in our own backyard, but we are a sports show, and that's what we do best, I think. Though Pro can do news, and Matt does a great job of news.
I would tell people spending one Christmas covering 3 murder cases in another life I had. What happens is, what scares you is that the collective psyche of America is happening all too often, and we get anesthetized to it. It's almost like, oh, another tragic shooting. But then when it hits in your backyard, it starts to really hit at your gut at that point in time. And you think maybe something has to be done. You don't know what, but something has to be done.
All right, but our job here on Sports Talk is to talk about the non-important aspects of your world,
The candy land of life.
which is sports. I mean, when you boil it all down, whether it's professional or college, it's supposed to be fun and games and a diversion. And I know we all get off track with that sometimes and feel like it is the end of the world, but it's not. What happened in Charleston is much closer to the end of the world than anything that happens in sports. So we will do what we do, and that is divert our attention away from that and talk about the people that play the sports that we love. And we'll update recruiting here in a little bit. Got some news just a little while ago from Cash Daniel, the linebacker in Kentucky, that you'll find very interesting. An update on him coming up here shortly on Sports Talk. Bill McDonald will join us from out in Seattle, round one of the U.S. Open. And, of course, Monty Lee named the coach at Clemson today, but unfortunately not able to have him on the show because out of respect for what has happened in Charleston, Clemson decided not to do a news conference today, and they don't want Monty talking to the media until they have that press conference, probably on Monday. So that's fine. We'll wait and talk to him then. The U.S. Open leaderboard, let me tell you what's happening there. Dustin Johnson, what a great first round for him. Had a bogey-free round going until his last hole, which was the par 3 ninth. You know, you think par 3, no big deal. You know, I'm going to end up with another birdie or par. Nope, he bogeyed it. So he falls back to 5 under 65. Henrik Stenson, he birdied his last hole, which was the 18th. He finished at 65. Patrick Reed is in at 66 scores. The guys that went out this morning, the first wave, really benefited from calm, cool conditions. Listening to PGA radio this afternoon, they're saying this is not going to continue. Now, the scores are very good today in this first wave. Do not expect it to be the case this afternoon. I am too. I looked at that golf course and I thought, did they ever water that golf course? I mean, that's, at least on television, it looks ugly. I'm talking about the grass. Maybe it's the fescue grass and the way it just looks, the greens look like they've just been punched and sanded. They don't look like greens that have been prepared for a major championship. Now, the setting is beautiful around Puget Sound and the mountains and everything.
You know, sort of the golf course, because where it's set, will get some misting off the sea. You know, when that condensation floats over and people think it's fog, and it is a little bit of, but it can get rain, but it can also get moisture from that misting.
Well, I'm sure they're going to water the devil out of it too. Matt Kuchar is 67. Cody Gribble, former University of Texas golfer who finished 21st in the Open last year, has been playing on the web.com tour. He shoots a 68. Francesco Molinari, he's in at 68, as is Jason Duffner and Mark Warren. They're all in at 68. That's 2 under par. On the course at 2 under, Brad Elder and J.B. Holmes. Phil Mickelson, a 1 under 69. Give you some of the others that we follow and our local guys that we're following. Phil Mickelson, 69. Bubba Watson, a 70. That's even par. Ernie Els is even through 5, as is Lucas Glover. Glover teed off on number 10. Kevin Kisner, even through 3. Jordan Spieth, even through 3. Ricky Fowler, even through 2. Noticing something here with this afternoon wave. Bill Haas, even through 2. Ben Martin, even through 1. Russell Henley, a 71. Rory McIlroy, a 72. Webb Simpson, a 72. Tiger Woods, 2 over through 2. At least he's consistent. Matt Neesmith, 76, 6 over. Mark Silvers is just underway, and Sam Saunders is also just getting underway in their round. So that's the leaderboard at the Open. We'll keep you up to date. We've got one game in the College World Series tonight. It's an elimination game. It's TCU against LSU. 8 o'clock tonight. Braves at home tonight against the Red Sox. A chance to win the 4-game series if they can win tonight. All right. Take a break. We'll come back and take your calls. 800-956-7266. All right, a couple of other quick notes. We'll get to your phone calls. According to a David Cloninger state newspaper, USC women's basketball coach Dawn Staley is going to receive a contract extension tomorrow from the Board of Trustees. And, of course, she took her team to the Final Four, won a school record 34 games. The source he talked to did not have specific numbers, but confirmed it will be an extension. And her previous deal paid her $850,000 last season. So it's not bad. She could be hitting $1 million here. Who'd ever thought that? $1 million. What else? Baseball signings. Clemson outfielder Steven Duggar signed with the Giants for $248,800. And he was a 6th-round pick. Right-hander Dylan Thompson from Sockasty signed with the Mariners. $585,000. He was a 4th-round pick. USC Aiken shortstop Sean Miller signed with the Twins, $125,000 for him. He was a 10th-round draft pick. And SEC and ESPN have told USC their game times and their networks for their first 3 football games. Of course, we know the North Carolina games on ESPN at 6 o'clock. The Kentucky game in Columbia, the home opener for South Carolina on the 12th. That's going to be a 7:30 kickoff on the SEC network. And the Gamecocks game at Georgia on the 19th will be a 6 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. Going to be a little warm in Athens betwixt the hedges. To the phones we go. And it's Bob in West Columbia listening to us on the points, and we appreciate it very much. Hi, Bob. Welcome in.
Phil, how you doing? Tom, how you doing?
We are all doing great. Thank you.
Good. It's still great to keep a stiff upper lip after we're 3 men of faith after what's happened in the news today. But we'll go to sports. Number one, we know you hear Texas is going to have alcohol at their football games.
Yep.
Okay. Texas A&M, I'm quoting ATT Yahoo Sports. A&M chancellor says school doesn't need to sell alcohol at games. And number 3, since I kind of like Sandra Bullock, she made a movie called The Other Side, and Michael Orr says that movie ruined his career. He got let go by the Ravens, he got let go by the Titans, and he signed with the Panthers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that today. I didn't.
It's on ATT. Not to make a plug.
Yeah. But what's he basing that on? How did the movie ruin his career?
I'd have to scroll down and find the article, open it up. Your competitor was just making a comment on it on the other FM station, and he's just kind of got it like a lot of guys in football. Their bodies take so much beating through high school and college and pros that he's kind of got it like in low gear as he's going down his career.
Well, I mean, that's more about his age and the wear and tear of playing football than I'm still trying to figure out how the movie ruined his career. I mean, the movie alerted everybody in the world to him and told his story, which was a good story. Yeah, just looking at this story about Michael Orr, that our old friend David Newton, he's still around.
Mm-hmm.
David Newton with ESPN. Of course, he'd probably say the same thing about me. He's still around. He wrote this story on Michael Orr, and the quote from Orr is in referencing the movie. That's taken away from my football. That's why people criticize me. That's why people look at me every single play. For whatever reason, he feels like the movie has given him some, I guess, unwanted attention, and maybe the expectations for him were excessively high as a result of the movie. I don't know. I mean, he was a good player. He was a good player for the Ravens. He was an all-pro player for the Ravens for a while. Then he's kind of slid performance-wise in his career, and now the Panthers hope he returns to form to be the offside protector for Cam Newton.
Well, maybe psychologically the movie affected his play. I mean, a movie cannot, you're gonna have people criticize you anyway because you're in a high profile sport. That's supposed to roll off your back. I mean, in college when they criticize you, it's tough because guess what? You have to go back to the dormitory. You got to go to class. Well, in the NFL, you just go back to your house, close the door, and refuse to read newspapers and cut on the TV or turn to a movie or something.
All right, back to the phones, 800-956-7266, down to Charleston. Dave listening to us in North Charleston on our affiliate down there, Big Kahuna Radio, 98.9 FM. How you doing, Dave?
How you doing, guys?
We're doing fine, thank you.
I just hope you can hear me. I got a little virus thing going, so you all be careful.
Yeah, we're good.
The tragedy down here, I feel sorry for those families, and my heart bleeds for the little child that was especially left alive and witnessing everything. And I'm glad they ran low on lethal injections because this guy really needs to go away and not be locked up for the rest of his life either. So I'm kind of glad lethal injections ran kind of low for a while too, but that's another story. But I'm kind of mad at Monty Lee leaving College of Charleston. I was becoming a fan of baseball, and I love listening to College of Charleston, and then he had to go and leave Clemson, and I'm a Gamecock, and there's no way I'm going to pull for Clemson because Monty Lee is, with them. I'm going to have to stay with my Gamecocks, and I'll be interested in seeing the new coach, whoever replaces Monty Lee, and I hope he's just as nice and a winner like Monty Lee was, and I wish Clemson all the best in the world, but I just hate those rebuilding teams, but yet I hope they do well.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, Monty is a terrific guy. Number one, there's no doubt about that. He will be he will be a very good new face for Clemson baseball, which is what Dan Radakovich wanted. He wanted new energy. He wanted new direction, and he's getting it. And Monty will do extremely well. He'll be retaining Bradley LeCroy as an assistant coach. He may bring his pitching coach with him from Charleston, or Matt Heath may be the new coach at Charleston. Who knows? In time, Monty will do extremely well. He's going to have benefits of the new things that they're building for the baseball program to attract the recruits. He's going to have the benefit of Clemson joining the academic common market, which will help them in funding the program and funding scholarships for players. That's all going to help. So he'll be fine. He's a good baseball man. He's still very close to Ray Tanner. Sure, they talk a lot of baseball. Don't know if that will continue, but I know up to this point that has been the case. And they'll get players at Clemson, and they're going to be good. They might struggle a bit in this first year. It depends on how good this incoming class, what's left of it, how quickly these young guys can step in and contribute. And it would certainly help if they were able to keep Cal Raleigh in the class. He's apparently a tremendous catching prospect. Of course, he's asked for his release. They're still working to try to keep him in the class. So we'll see what happens with that. As far as what's going to happen in Charleston, my suggestion going back last week, and I still think it's a good idea, hire Jack Leggett. Jack Leggett's still got a lot of baseball left in him, and he knows how to build a program. He knows how to sustain a program. And I don't know what Joe Hull has in mind, if he wants to go with a young guy or if he wants to go with a proven winner and an older guy to take what they've got and keep it going.
They hired Crimmins.
They hired Crimmins. You're exactly right. They did hire Bobby Crimmins. And we've seen that. Unfortunately for the College of Charleston, I'm getting off the subject here, but gosh, joining the CAA, what a stupid idea. What an from a sports standpoint, just an absolute stupid idea.
Well, they didn't do it for sports.
Well, I mean, then why join a league? Be an independent then. I mean, I know you can't be an independent, but I mean, you joined a league that nobody in your fan base can care about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no natural rivals. And it's just like this year when we talk on this show and we're following the teams, we did the ACC, we did the SEC, we did the Big South, we did the SoCon, and then we had to check on Charleston, the CAA. There's no reason from an athletic standpoint for Charleston to be in that league. They should be in the Southern Conference, and the interest would be, even greater for them in their home state. I'm afraid they're on an island by themselves.
That's exactly
down there with the CAA.
Now, for those who don't know about it, one of the biggest attractions that draws students to your university is your athletic program. Unfortunately, some administrators know that, and that's a dangerous thing for them to know. All of them know it. But let's face it, one of the reasons they joined the CAA is because Charleston is looked upon as an international city. And they were thinking, more out-of-state students, more out-of-state tuition. If we bring our athletic teams up the Eastern Seaboard, Boston, Washington, D.C. area, that sort of thing, we'll attract more students from out of state to come to Charleston, which is in the long run may be true, but I think for this athletic program, even being in the Big South would have been better than going to the CAA.
I'm telling you, I think it's a terrible decision, and hopefully one day somebody there, whether it is Glenn McConnell, the president, or the athletic director, or board of trustees, will see the error of that way and do something about it.
That's why I was asking you, when Monty Lee looked like he was going to be a coach at Clemson, is this C of C job as attractive if they would have stayed in the Southern Conference? Well, I mean, if you're Jack Leggett, it's attractive because he wants to coach a baseball team, and there aren't many openings out there right now. What's open out there? I think Nevada is open because their coach left to go to Arizona. This job is open, and I would think for Jack, I'm not thinking for Jack, but I would think for Jack that the opportunity to coach at a proven winner in a city like Charleston and maybe, live some of your, I hate to, he doesn't have one foot in the grave, but live some of your final years down there in Charleston on Mount Pleasant or Isle of Palms, whatever the case may be. Shoot, I'd jump all over that. And I think that they could do a lot worse than Jack Leggett. Now, the age. Instant credibility.
Well, yeah. The age thing, I don't know how that plays into it, but Jack's got a lot of baseball games left in him. So if I were Joe Hull, I'd certainly take a look at it. All right, got a break coming up. We'll do our Braves report. Braves and the Red Sox. Last game of their 4-game series coming up tonight at Turner Field. Back in a moment. All right, Mike Morgan is stiffing us tonight, as he tends to do from time to time, so no official Braves report for you, but we will tell you the Braves and the Red Sox go at it again tonight, wrapping up their 4-game series that was split between Fenway Park and Turner Field. The Braves going for the series win tonight after winning last night. Good pitching matchup, Shelby Miller against Clay Buchholz, and it's going to be hot in Atlanta, as it is everywhere else. And the Braves will try to pick up another win over the Red Sox. Miller 5-2, 2.02 ERA. The Red Sox really struggling. They've lost 11 of 12 on the road, averaging just 2.3 runs per game in those games. And they just broke a 7-game losing streak the other day when they beat the Braves. Buchholz is 3-6, 4.22 ERA. So Atlanta and the Red Sox
Shelby
tonight.
Miller still great ERA 2.02, but he has had, I think, 3 or 4 straight either no decisions or losses, because either the team is not scoring any runs, but most recently the bullpen has carried gasoline in and he's gotten a no decision. So it'd be interesting to see how long he goes tonight.
The Red Sox have lost 8 of their last 9, and that makes me very happy. Philadelphia, well, I hate the Red Sox. Philadelphia beat Baltimore today. That makes me happy. 2-1. Minnesota over St. Louis 2-1. Houston beat Colorado 8-4. San Diego beat Oakland 3-1. And the Angels beat Arizona 7-1. So you're up to date there. 800-956-7266 if you want to hop on board here before we hit our next break, and then we'll do recruiting. Bill McDonald will join us in the next hour from Chambers Bay. Let's take a quick look at the open leaderboard, see if there's been much movement. Still Stinson and Johnson at the top at 5 under, Reed at 4 under, Kuchar at 3 under. Here comes Ben Martin. He's off to a great start, 3 under through 3. He started at number 10, so he is see if he's birdied all 3 holes. He got an eagle. He got an eagle on number 12. I believe number 12 I was watching on television today. So he started out with a par, Ben did. Then he birdied 11, par 4, and he birdied 12. I believe 12 is the drivable par 4, where if you hit the ball past the pin to the backside of the green, it's like an elevated backside of the green, and the ball will roll back. I was watching this earlier. So you play it sort of like a pinball game. You play it to go past the pin, run it up there, run it to the backside of the green, and it's the elevation sends it back down towards the hole, kind of like a little funnel coming back down the green. So he must have hit a good shot in there, got his eagle. So he is 3 under par through his first 3 holes today. So Ben Martin is off to a terrific start. And let's see what Tiger's doing. Tiger is 2 over through 3 holes. Matthew Neesmith finished with a 76 at 6 over. And Rory McIlroy had a 72. Lucas Glover is 1 over through 7 holes. Russell Henley is in at 1 over, 71. Sam Saunders is even after his first hole. Mark Silvers is even after 2. Bill Haas is even after 3 holes. And they're all on the back side. They started on the back 9. Ricky Fowler is even after 3. Jordan Spieth is even after 4. Ernie Els even after 7. So not too many guys in this afternoon wave are making much of a run. Ben Martin, one of the few, moving up the leaderboard here early on in the afternoon wave of golfers on the course at Chambers Bay. I tell you, like I said earlier, looking at that thing on television, it just looks downright scary. I mean, some of the bunkers are just humongous. They have an area on 18 called, the name of the course is Chambers Bay. Apparently, I've got to ask Bill about this. I don't know if it's a bunker or just a section of the course. They call it Chambers Basement. So it must be a tremendous drop-off in a deep hole that the golfers can fall into, their golf balls can fall into, that they have to get out of.
Well, remember in the British Open, people were saying this is the hole that started the demise of David Duval, that thing that had a wall and it went down bunker, in there, and he kept hitting it and it bounced right back to him, and he never could get it. they said that was the beginning of the end for David Duvall.
All right, so Bill McDonald coming up in the next hour, and we will do recruiting here after the break. And, of course, we invite you to join us here on the program as well. 800-956-7266 is the phone number. We'll be right back. All right, time for the recruiting report tonight, and it's been a good 24 hours for South Carolina as far as positioning themselves with a number of guys. First of all, Cash Daniel, the linebacker from Paintsville, Kentucky, told me late this afternoon he's made his decision. He narrowed his choice to USC, Kentucky, and Louisville, and his choice is not going to be announced until noon or 1 o'clock on July 4th. Press conference at his high school gym. Had you go in there for a second, didn't I? Anyway, he said he's made the decision, and he said he's always told everybody he's going to a school where he feels at home, even if home is in a different state. And he said the school that I chose, that I know of right now, in the back of my mind, whenever I step on campus, I feel at home. He was in Lexington yesterday to be on a radio show. He stopped by Kentucky to see and visit with Mark Stoops. He said nothing big about that. He just had it in his mind to go over there and say hello to everybody. He said if he could get back to South Carolina again, he would. He did talk with the USC's Kirk Botkin and Steve Spurrier Jr. today. He was at the showcase camp last Saturday. No more visits for him. So certainly kind of has a feel like it's going to be South Carolina for him at this particular point.
Did South Carolina have a quarterback that was supposed to be coming from Kentucky?
Well, they were in on a quarterback from Kentucky. He never gave a strong hint.
But then he stayed home.
He did. Defensive back Marlon Character of Atlanta did not make it to USC for camps last weekend, but and he had planned for an unofficial for this Saturday, but he can't make that either because of 7-on-7 things in Florida. But he said there's something about South Carolina lately that's been catching my eye, and he says, I've never forgotten the game I went there when they played Georgia. I can see myself playing there. He said, I'm closer to the Gamecocks right now, and he said, I did tell Coach Ward they are out front right now. Previously, he had the Gamecocks and Virginia Tech even. He'll visit USC within the next couple of weeks, and a commitment is possible on that visit. He's been to Alabama, Georgia, and Louisville for camps, and he was going to Auburn today. He plans to take another visit to Virginia Tech before his decision. Orlando offensive lineman Parker Boudreaux announced a final 5 schools on Wednesday. And they are Clemson, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Florida, and Georgia Southern. And he plans to make his decision the end of the summer before his season. Wide receiver Kelvin Harmon of Palmyra, New Jersey, released his top 6 last night. USC, North Carolina, Temple, Rutgers, West Virginia, and NC State. He was at USC for their camp this past weekend and really enjoyed it and likes them. Offensive lineman Luke Elder, LaGrange, Georgia, was at USC's camp Saturday, has the Gamecocks and North Carolina at the top of his list. Georgia Tech would be third. Tight end Nasir Upshur, Philadelphia, USC targets, going to Michigan next week. And, Devron Davis, the defensive back from Merced Junior College in California, who committed to Colorado State, said he will take more officials, including one to USC. Top of the hour break.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
It's raining in Atlanta. Maybe some of that will slide this way in the next couple of hours. Braves and Red Sox, don't know if they're going to be held up or not, but everybody's standing under umbrellas there at Turner Field. Good to have you back with us here on Sports Talk, 800-956-7266. Our phone number, email talkback@sportstalksc.com. On Twitter, it's @sportstalksc. The website is sportstalksc.com. And on Facebook, Sports Talk Radio Network. Remember, when you go to the website, make sure you vote in our weekly poll. The question is, who will be ACC's best quarterback in 2015? 2015. Your choices, as we give them, are Deshaun Watson, Everett Golson, Justin Thomas, Brad Kaya, Marquise Williams, Jacoby Brissett, or you can write in your own choice. And right now, Deshaun Watson has 50% of the votes. It's a runaway. Everett Golson next at about 18%. Justin Thomas next at about 15%. And let's see who people have written in, if anybody new has popped up. Somebody wrote Tom Tater Mac Hayes in as the best quarterback in the ACC.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have a good offensive line.
Where does Tater Mac
I have
from?
no earthly idea.
Is somebody taking a shot at the pros?
Somebody with too much time on their hands.
Some of the other written in entries include Kevin McCrary, U of SCRN. Somebody wrote it's a Class B league. Somebody wrote in Joe Pluggy. BSPURFUPLUGHI. If you're not careful how you say that, you could say something that the FCC would frown upon.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wrote in, who cares? Somebody wrote in Cardale Jones, wrong league.
Mm-hmm.
And now Tom Tatermac Hayes. Anyway, if you haven't had a chance to vote, get over there and do so. Let your voice be heard by voting in our weekly poll question here on Sports Talk. Coming up, we'll hear from Bill McDonald out at the U.S. Open. Get an update from him on conditions and things that he witnessed today. Dustin Johnson, Henrik Stenson, the leader at 65, the co-leaders at 65, 5 under par. Patrick Reed, 4 under 66. Matt Kuchar, 3 under 67. Ben Martin, last update we had on him, he was 3 under through 3 holes. What do you think of Fox and Joe Buck and Greg Norman in the 18th tower, and Fox doing it Fox's way, different from the way we'll talk about that too coming up. Bill McDonald joining us on the other side of the break. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornblut, Professor Tom Hayes from downtown Columbia, Main Street. Sports Talk, your sports talk show of Main Street, South Carolina. 800-956-7266 is the phone number. And email talkback at sportstalksc.com. Let's head out to the state of Washington, Puget Sound, somewhere there around Tacoma and Seattle. USC golf coach Bill McDonald joining us live from the U.S. Open. Coach, how you doing?
Well, I'm pretty worn out, Phil. I went with Matt E. Smith this morning, and now I'm on the golf course with Mark Silver. So this place is really interesting in terms of spectator viewing. It's probably the hardest golf course I've ever seen to try to follow one group, but having a blast. It's nothing like the U.S. Open, that's for sure.
Well, I was going to ask you too. A few years ago, the Ocean Course, that seemed like a very difficult walk. In fact, I walked it 3 days and seemed like a very difficult walk for the fans and everybody else because it was so spread out along the ocean. Now it was, I guess flatter to some degree compared to this. How do you compare that, the Ocean Course setup and the walk compared to Chambers Bay?
Well, I wasn't able to make it down to the Ocean Course, unfortunately, that year, but I heard some nightmare scenarios. It's probably pretty similar here. I mean, you have. I'll put it this way: I saw Matt play probably 9 holes today, and I tried to walk in the entire 18. I literally, at times, you're routed in there because of the mounds and the way they're trying to protect themselves from a liability standpoint. They're trying to keep people off these slopes. You're walking in a lot of times an completely opposite direction to where the players actually play. So it's a challenge, and they want you to sit in the grandstand and watch golf, and that's fine. I mean, it's what they've decided to do. But if you've got a player that you're really interested in, then you've got a challenge on your hands. You really do.
All right, let's talk about Matt's day. I guess a positive was he birdied his last hole to go from 7 over to 6 over, shoots a 76. What kind of how did you see his performance today?
He played really well. He made 9 straight pars, and then he got to number 10, and they moved the tee about 40 yards up, which we honestly weren't expecting at all, and I don't think he knew what to hit off the tee there. He made a very tentative swing and hit it in the hay. He made a double. He hit it. Came back the very next hole, number 11, hit it about 15 feet, and I think he was juiced to try to get some shots back, and he ran it by 4 feet, and made a bogey there. So I think it just exposed him a little bit in the sense that he has a tendency to when he's uncomfortable with a sight line or not quite sure what he wants to do, he just gets a little unsure with the swing. But he played a good guy. He birdied 17, and he parred 18. But he came back strong at the end. And then Mark Silvers is off to a decent start here. I'm out here with him right now, and the golf course there's not as much wind as what they were forecasting, and it's playing actually. I mean, I wouldn't say it's gettable from shooting low, but it's not going to play much. It's playing as easy as it's going to play.
Yeah,
let me put it that way right now.
Yeah, I hear from listening to the PGA Tour guys, they're saying it's going to get tougher as this day moves on and as the tournament moves on. What about Dustin Johnson today and his performance? How much of that did you get a chance to catch? And I mean, he was going to have the lead all by himself until he bogeyed his last hole.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a really good course for Dustin. I mean, it gives you a little bit of room to drive it, and we all know he's extremely long. The combination of hitting it high and long is an extreme advantage around this golf course. I mean, it's not a real true, like we talked about last night. It's not a true links course. You've got to get the ball in the air. You got to know where it's going. You got to have good distance control. Which Dustin is. I mean, I told somebody, and when we came out here for practice round on Monday, I said, this is a perfect course for him. Just simply because there's room to drive the ball. I mean, you don't have the typical U.S. Open, 20-yard wide fairways or anything like that. It's so if you hit the fairways and you can get it, they set it up a little bit easy today, and I say that in quotes.
Yeah,
it's not super easy, but it's gettable.
Yeah.
For sure.
How about Ben Martin? He's off to a pretty good start for him. He is he was at 3 under through 3. Now he lost a stroke, so he's 2 under through 4. You like Ben's chances of having a good tournament?
Well, Ben's in a really good place. I actually had dinner with Ben a couple nights ago, and he's in a good spot right now. He feels very confident with his game, and he's just a plotter. Ben's always been that way, and very solid player. So this place is interesting in that there's the guys that have the top gear like Dustin can take advantage of some things, and then but a guy like Ben who keeps it in play, keeps it out in front of him, it fits them as well too. So it's a venue where really it's hard to say if it's one style of player, but it's just an amazing place. I mean, I hope you've been able to see some of the pictures of it. It's just a really different type of golf course.
Well, to me, it doesn't look on television. I know the surroundings are beautiful and the layout is gorgeous and all that, but I mean, to me, the greens look like they've been punched and sanded. I mean, it doesn't look pretty on television.
No, I would imagine so. It's not, and trust me, it's not pretty.
Yeah.
But it is really different, and I think that I've had several people ask me what would you compare it to, and I can't compare anything because I don't know what I'm calling it target links. I've never seen a golf course where it plays like a links course and the ball's running out, but yeah, you have to land, you have to fly it in the air to a certain spot. I've never seen anything like that in my 30 years or so of being involved with professional golf. And I think a lot of players have never seen anything like this. Golf course was built for the U.S. Open. They've been planning this for I guess, for years. They didn't plan very well on handling the spectators, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Tell us about number 12. Is that the drivable par 4?
Yeah, 12 is drivable, and it's you can hit it to the front there with a 3-wood if the wind's on your back a little bit, which is the prevailing wind. But Rory and those guys, Justin Rose yesterday, playing with Matt, they hit driver to the back of the green, and it's that's one of the few holes out here where you say, "Oh, I can make birdie here if I hit one good shot." The rest of the golf course, you're just holding on for dear life, hoping you can make a par and just get on down the road.
So you sounds like you're describing this is not a course that if you're trying to look to win, say on Sunday, that you would gamble on a shot. You want to just play it careful and edge your way to the green.
There are 2 or 3 places to gamble out here. One is number 12, like Phil said, and then the other is 18 when it's playing as par 5. I think that you got maybe possibly 8. There's a par 5 that you can run something up on, but it's really a golf course that you really need to play conservatively, and for the most part, 90% of the holes you're just really trying to make the make a par and get on down the road. I mean, it is so penal. I don't know if you've seen some of the bunkering and the bunkers and the way the ball can run off, but it's pretty tough.
Yeah, hang on a second, Coach. Going to come back after this short break with you for a couple of more minutes and talk more about this this golf course. That's the talk of the tournament. Don't know if that's a good idea. I'll have to ask your opinion about that. I mean, should it be the course that's the talk of the tournament or the players who are the talk of the tournament? Back in a moment. And we're back. A couple more minutes with Bill McDonald, USC golf coach out at Chambers Bay for the U.S. Open. So going back to number 12, I saw this on television earlier today, but I think it was Mickelson's drive. No, it wasn't Mickelson. It was somebody else. Anyway, hit the ball onto the green, past the pin. It rolled towards the backside of the green, maybe even a little bit off, but then it came back and it rolled back down towards the pin and it stopped within a few feet. I mean, is that the ideal number 12 to run it up there? And what causes it to come back? Is it some sort of elevation change?
Well, you've got, I mean, a lot, not just number 12 green, but you've got a lot of greens out here that have some really severe slopes just off the edges. I mean, it's a Jedi mind game to try to figure out how to hit some shots into these greens. I mean, you might see a ball. Matt Neesmith hit a ball this morning off. He hit a perfect shot in what I thought was a perfect shot into the 11th hole, and it caromed off of a slope and went way past the hole. So it's a 12 is very definitely that way. I mean, but a lot of the greens are. That's just that's how they've designed it.
Mm-hmm. And I heard on the radio today, listening to PGA radio, they referred to someplace on 18, I think it was, as Chambers Basement. Is that a bunker, or is that just an area of the fairway leading up to the green?
That is Chambers Basement is a bunker that's about 15 to 20 feet deep. That's 100 yards from the green, and it's literally impossible to hit the green from that bunker. I mean, it's not even really a pot bunker. It's bigger than the typical pot bunker you'd see in Scotland. It's fairly wide and it's extremely deep. It's right in the middle of the fairway. It's kind of a unique feature here, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So we got about a minute. Do you think this the scoring is going to hold up as we move forward? This 5 under, 6 under, 4 under, or are we going to get closer to par and maybe above par by the end of this thing?
Well, my guess is that they are going to gradually toughen the golf course up. I think that they were a little bit conservative with some things today. That's just my take on it. They can easily turn the sprinklers off and make it tougher. And I think that getting a few scores under par is probably a good thing today. But I would say going forward, you're going to see things progressively play a little bit tougher.
Coach, we appreciate it. And if it's okay, we'll catch you tomorrow night for another wrap-up.
That sounds good, Phil. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bill McDonald out at Chambers Bay. Of course, the beautiful thing with these guys playing on the West Coast is we get to go home and watch it on primetime television. What do you think of Fox and their coverage? Those of you who are watching it on television, your take on Fox and Joe Buck and Greg Norman in the 18th Tower. Typical of Fox, their opening of the broadcast today at noon was put to some high energy music. It was well done. It was hitting on the idea of a first time in the Northwest, first time for this golf course, first time for Fox. They had various golfers and Jack Nicklaus involved. Gonna let you hear a little bit from Dustin Johnson here in just a moment. Had a round of 11 pars, 6 birdies, had the 1 bogey. He hit 11 of 14 fairways. His longest drive today. What do you think his longest drive was? How many yards do you think his longest drive was? And it's been the 4th longest drive of the day.
475.
359. 475.
475.
359 yards. I have to check to see who's got the longest drive of the day. He's got the 4th longest. He hit 14 of 18 greens. So did a good job. You hit fairways, you hit greens, you have a chance to score.
Seemed like the course didn't bother him.
No, it didn't. Until number 9. Let me see what he did on number 9. Number 9 is that par 3. That's where he had his only bogey of the day. Everything was humming right along, and he gets to number 9, and he has a bogey. Let me see if I can recreate what he did on that particular hole. Let's see here. Number 9, 224 yards, and that's not giving me the golf shot stuff here, the golf link. So I can't tell you exactly what happened. All I do know is that he took a bogey on that hole. Here are just a few comments from Dustin Johnson following his round, his thoughts on his performance, how he held up on the course, etc. Here's Dustin Johnson.
Very, very pleased with my round today. I thought I played really solid all day. I thought the setup was great. I thought they had some really tough flags, and they had some pins that, you could get close to. So I thought they did a good job with the setup today for sure. I like using my imagination, on shots. It's always fun to play courses that are different than what you play every day. So I just enjoy playing here. I enjoy playing over at the British. I think it's just, it's golf that I really like to play.
All right, Dustin Johnson, he started on number 10 with a par. Then he went birdie, and then he parred the rest of the way, made the turn at 33, and then he birdied number 1, took a couple of pars. He birdied 4, he birdied 5, he parred 6, he birdied 7, parred 8, which is a par 5, and then he bogeyed number 9. So that's how it adds up to a 65 for him, 5 under par on a par 70 day. Now, keep in mind, they're going to flip number 1 tomorrow. Number 1 is supposed to be a par 5. Today it was a par 4. And number 18, which today is a par 5, is supposed to be a par 4 tomorrow. So they're going to flip those.
I'm still shocked at a 65 on that course.
I am too. And I got to believe the scores are just going to climb. Mm-hmm. As Coach said, they're going to make the tough courser, but make the course tougher. Make the tough courser. They're going to make the course tougher.
It's a very hairy course.
Yes. And then, of course, just the elements are going to kick in at some point in time. The weather is going to change. It's not going to be calm like it's been so far today.
I just think they got the course set up like a old pool shark. Lose the first game, and then they come out the next day. Wait a minute, what have y'all done to this course? Then Sunday. So I think they're lulled them into a false sense of security this first round, and they're going to fix them up for the rest of the last 3 rounds.
Of course, these are the best golfers in the world, and they're the best golfers in the world for a reason. They know how to play the game. They know how to adjust and deal with all kinds of circumstances. And but I think eventually the course is going to get the better of them. I think, from what I've seen, just looking at it on television, I don't see how they can continue to post these kind of numbers. Anyway, mentioning the Fox coverage, their first year of I think it's a 15-year contract that they signed with the USGA.
Wow.
To televise the Open. It's their first. They've done a little bit of golf here and there, not much, and it's a little strange. And you can tell. Joe Buck's a great announcer, but he hasn't done golf. And I feel to do golf right, you have to do golf a lot. You can't fool golf fans. You can't fake it. You either know it or you don't. And I haven't seen enough of it to get a true feel. That's why I'm asking anybody who's been watching on television your thoughts about Fox's coverage so far. I know that in typical Fox fashion, they plan to do a lot of different things electronically, like they put microphones in all 18 cups. I don't know what they plan to get out of that. If it's the sound of the ball dropping in the cup, maybe. Maybe they pick up a little chatter from the golfers on the green. I don't know. That was one of the things they were going to do. I don't know about the camera angles. Knowing Fox, and I was expecting them to have a camera on wires running across the golf course.
No way. They wouldn't allow that.
Oh, no, of course not. But just thinking about different, Fox is always on the edge.
Yeah.
I was expecting all their.
They'll have drones eventually.
I was thinking drones. Yeah. But how could you do that? Because you can't. A golfer could hit a drone with a ball, and you can't.
Well,
I expected all the reporterettes on the course to be blonde and long.
Come on,
long-legged.
No, this is not the XFL. No.
Well, that's kind of what I was looking at,
But
I mentioned the opening before we hit the break. The opening of their broadcast was the theme was first. There's a first time for everything. Your first love, your first kiss. First time for the Open in the Northwest. First time on this golf course, first time on Fox, and they were intercutting various golfers saying the word first or first time, the words first time, and they intercut Jack Nicklaus in there several times. It was really pretty cool. Well done. Set to a song that used the word or words first time in there. It's not like you're open on CBS, like for the Masters, which is
you better have that open.
Same song over and over again.
They can't compete with that. They need to go the opposite, energetic.
That's what they're doing. And Fox going after the younger crowd too, to some degree. But it's golf, and you can't jazz up golf.
No,
golf is not meant to be jazzed up. Golf is meant to be stoic and calm and relaxing and. Tom.
Now the kids are playing golf.
What's
nowadays.
his name? Tom from ESPN. Tom Rinaldi with the piano following him around every time.
The only way you can jazz up golf is you can't jazz it up, but you can. I say this: you can do it with subtle camera movement. When a guy shoots the ball, pull out slowly. That sort of thing.
The guy shoots the ball.
When he shoots the ball, when he takes the shot.
That's not right. You don't shoot the ball.
Hits, makes contact.
Listen, I'm trying to be a director here. You pull out slowly. What do you take? What do you take when you address the ball? What do you take? A golf what?
Swing.
No. What do you do though?
A golf shot.
Thank you.
But it's not called shooting the ball.
There we go. It's not bowling. You can't go bowling.
And again, I tell people, you didn't go golfing. I hate it when people take the word golf and use it as a verb, and especially in the past participle form of it. No, when you play golf, you didn't just go golfing. So many people say that because they're using it like bowling. They say, because bowling is.
I've had to listen to this for years.
When you bowl, you go bowling. I get that. But when you play golf, you do not go golfing. Okay, it's not the same thing.
But here's the problem.
Don't ask me why. It's like in baseball.
Here's the problem.
You don't when you describe a baseball play and a guy has last time up, he flied out to the outfield. You don't say he flew out to the outfield. That indicates he grew wings and flapped them and flew out physically to the outfield. No, he flied out to left field.
Here's the problem.
Fly it out to right field. That's the proper way of saying it. I hate it when announcers don't say it the right way.
There's no proper way because let's face it, people think dictionaries show you the proper way. No, it's a reflection on usage. Years ago, if you said often to an English teacher, you get hit on the knuckles. Now, so many people say often.
Mm-hmm. The T is silent. The T is silent.
So many people say often now. They put in a dictionary as a correct pronunciation.
Well, that's incorrect.
So golfing, you go in the dictionary right now, and there'll be golfing.
Okay, let's give you the latest update from the U.S. Open. Things are happening, of course. Second wave of the day is going through, but the leaders, they look like they're not going to be touched. Dustin Johnson, Henrik Stenson, 5 under 65. Patrick Reed is 66. Matt Kuchar is 67. Kevin Kisner could work his way up in there. The Aiken native making the turn at 3 under. He started on number 10 and is having a good start thus far. And Ben Martin is still there at 3 under. He too started on the backside. He's played through 6 holes today. Brian Campbell is 3 under after 5 holes. Your 2 under par group is Cody Gribble and Francesco Molinari, Jason Duffner, and Mark Warren, all in at 2 under 68. On the course at 2 under, you have, let's see here, Danny Willett, Brendan Grace, Jimmy Gunn. They are all at 2 under par. And I've heard this name before, and I'm trying to remember how they pronounce it. Is it Joost Luiten? Joost, pronounced, I think it's Joost. Joost Luiten?
I would imagine
Joost Luiten?
Right.
Joost Luiten?
Juice Newton?
Well, the J would be pronounced like a yo, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you.
Used.
Like a yes.
Joost
sound.
Joost Luiten? I think he's from I don't know what flag that country represents.
New Zealand?
I'll have to look and see. I don't know. Anyway, as far as some of the others that we are, of course, keeping a watch on. Phil Mickelson, 69. Bubba Watson, 70. Ernie Els is even through 10. Bill Haas is even through 7 holes. Mark Silvers, even through 5. So he's kind of hanging in there. Sam Saunders is even through 4 holes. And Russell Henley finished at 1 over 71. Jordan Spieth is 1 over through 7. Rory McIlroy at 2 over 72. Webb Simpson the same. Lucas Glover is 2 over. He's played 10 holes. Ricky Fowler is 3 over after 7. Tiger Woods is 4 over after 7. Matt Neesmith is 6 over 76. Let's talk about Tiger because nobody else is. 4 over after 7 holes. And
we thought that would have been a great.
Yeah, today it's not going to be a good number.
It's going to be.
It looks like he's on his way to a big number here in round 1. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to say never or ever because nothing is ever for never. How you like that? Just made that up. But he's got to play more golf. I don't see how he can expect, or the people around him can expect him to win championships if he only plays a couple of rounds here and there. He's not playing enough golf. He's not playing enough competition. That's the only way to sharpen your game is to get out and play the competition. All the practicing and all the work on the swing and all that, I don't see that getting it done. And the results they speak for themselves. The results are horrible.
Well, isn't that so you're saying he needs to change what he normally would have done when he was on the top of his game because he didn't play that much when he was on the top.
Well, I'm talking about he's got to play more than he is now.
Mm-hmm.
And if his health allows it, and apparently it does, he needs to get out and play some
apparently
golf tournaments.
It doesn't.
What?
If he's not playing?
No, his health is good. I mean, he's not complaining about anything hurting like the knee or the back or anything like that. So he needs to get out and play golf tournaments. Phil Mickelson played last week in Memphis. Now, he normally plays the week before a major to try to get his game ready. Tiger, there's different approaches, but he's not even playing weeks before. I mean, how many tournaments has he played in this year besides the majors? I think he's only played in maybe 5 tournaments. I can look and see. I know, he played in San Diego, and of course he missed a couple of tournaments because of injuries and stuff like that. But I don't think he's playing in enough tournaments to get his game sharp, to be honest with you. Let's see. 2015, he's played in 5 events this year. He's only made 3 cuts. He's only got 1 top 25 finish. So, I mean, that's my thought on it is you got to get out and you got to play and you got to get into competition rhythm. And I don't think he's playing enough to do that.
Well, I think the other way. I think he thinks his body won't hold up.
But then, I mean, he's never going to get back to where he was by just hitting practice shots. I mean, golf.
As I said,
you got to
before,
get out there and play.
A candle that burns twice as bright burns half as long. Maybe his candle is blown out.
He's only 39. He's got plenty of time left. Back in a moment. Just looking at some of the first round numbers in the Open, some of these numbers, I'm confused about a couple of things, but I'll just read them as they are. Looking at driving distance, we were wondering about the longest drive of the day so far. According to the U.S. Open website, longest drive of round one so far, Jamie Donaldson, 385 yards. Brad Frisch next at 364. Amateur Bradley Neal next at 357. Charlie Belgian fourth at 352. So I'm a little confused here because on Dustin Johnson's page and his stats, they listed his longest drive as fourth longest in the tournament. This says 10th longest, and they listed it 336 yards. What did we say before? 354?
359.
359. I don't understand the discrepancy. So anyway, I'm just going by what it says here. Greens in regulation thus far. In round one, amateur Bo Hostler. He's 13 of 13. Brandon Grace, who is tied for fifth. He was 10 for 10. Lucas Glover, 11 of 12. So good start for him in that category. Just some of the stats of note at the opening round of the U.S. Open. Let's take a look one more time at, in particular, Tiger. 4 over after 7 still, so nothing's changed there. Looking to see if anybody else has moved up amongst the guys that we're following. Lucas Glover, 2 over through 11. Did I just say Lucas was doing really well? Greens in regulation, yeah. He must not be making many putts. If he said 11 of 12 greens and he's 2 over par, he's not making many putts. He must, or he's reaching greens, but he's a long way away.
Slopes.
Long way away from the from the pen. Bill Haas is now under par, 1 under through 8. Ernie Els is now under par, 1 under through 11. So it's going to be kind of neat watching this in prime time. Of course, we've got baseball tonight as well. Braves are in a rain delay, but you have College World Series action coming up. Elimination game, LSU and TCU. That'll be getting underway in just a little bit. And let's see, what else? That's about it.
And TCU LSU fell behind, 3-0 to Cal State Fullerton and roared back late.
How about the way
game.
Florida hammered Miami twice?
They're hammering everybody, which tells you somewhere along the line. See, the scary thing about Florida right now, I think probably they have the deepest pitching staff right now, and all their hitters are stroking it. So they look like the odds-on favorite to win it.
Braves and Red Sox are underway now, top of the first. They did have a little bit of a rain delay, but they're now playing at Turner Field. All right, that'll do it. Thank you, Pro. Thank you, State Man. Thank you, Larkin Belton, for your work. Everybody, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night here on Sports Talk.